Thank you all for coming. We'll go ahead and call the regular meeting of the Colfax County Commission to order for September 23rd. At this time, if you would please to silence any electronic devices and please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Kern.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible. Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, to see a symbol of perfect friendship among united churches.
All right, we'll move on to item number 4 is approval of the agenda. Commissioners, after reviewing the agenda, do you see any changes or amendments that need to be made?
I don't have any.
Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Been moved and second, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Yes. Moving on to item number 5 is approval of regular meeting minutes for September 10th, 2024. Commissioners, is there any amendments to the minutes? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Madam Clerk, has been moved and seconded.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Yes. Moving on to item number 6 is the recognition of visitors. I do want to thank everyone for coming. If you would, please, Mr. Soto's here is going to go around. Please speak clearly into the mic. Make sure it's green to state your name for the record. I'll go ahead and state who is online. We got Ty Pettigrew, our contracted CPA, County Attorney June Rowe, County Engineer Mike Provine, Dan Rakes, Executive General Counsel for the Angel Fire Resort. So,
Good morning.
morning.
Amadeo Soto, IT.
Sandra Chavez.
Chris Chavez.
Sarah Torres, Chief Deputy Clerk.
George Riley, Code Enforcement Officer, City of Raton. Rick Mestis, City Manager, Raton.
Jaden Welch, City Engineer for the City of Raton.
Danielle Avila, Manager's Office.
Regina Slade, Warden, B. Hill Maldonado Detention Center.
BJ Lindsay, Mayor, Angel Fire.
Tom V. Hill, Emergency Management.
Michael Muniz with the Manager's Office.
Todd Tatum.
Glenn Stevens, Road Department.
Laura Brewer, Ratonian News Media.
Ambrosia Trujillo, the DWI program.
Thank you all. Next, we'll move on to item number 7 is public comment. Please note we will limit public comment to 3 minutes, and this is for any item that is not listed on the agenda. Once we get to that item, we'll allow for public comment at that time. So at this time, is there any public comment? Yes, sir, Tom. Oh, go ahead. If you just come up, speak clearly into the mic and just state your name.
Good morning. I'm Sandra Chavez. This is my husband, Chris Chavez. We're residents of Butte Park and are here before the County Commission today to express our anger and confusion regarding recent unauthorized road work performed by the county. First, we want to say that we appreciate the county road crew and the work that they have done on our road in the past, and our presence at this meeting today is solely due to one individual's error in judgment. I would like to read and submit this letter by Chris and Sandra Chavez for inclusion in the minutes of this September 23rd, 2024 Colfax County Commission meeting. The letter is addressed to Monty K. Gore, County Manager, Mary Lou Kern, County Commissioner, Cy Trujillo, County Commissioner, and Brett Weir, County Commissioner. Dear Mr. Gore, Commissioner Kern, Commissioner Trujillo, and Commissioner Weir, we hope this letter finds you all well. We are writing to formally lodge a complaint regarding road work that was carried out on September 10th, 2024 on Hummingbird Lane, a private road that services our community. This work has had a direct negative impact on private properties, including our own, and was done without the necessary authorization or oversight from the appropriate county authorities or property owners. It has come to our attention that the work was directed by Todd Tatum, who is not a representative of the county nor the community and has no formal authority or decision-making power over the properties affected by this road work. Despite this, he took it upon himself to direct the activities by manipulating and taking advantage of a very new county employee and grader operator, which has caused significant concern among the property owners. To our understanding, Mr. Tatum is a future county commissioner, but this does not grant him any authority to initiate or direct road work on private property at this time. The unauthorized work has resulted in significant damage to our property, specifically the loss of 2 mature choke cherry trees that were at least 12 years old, and damage to the very infrastructure of the road itself all along Hummingbird Lane where the work was done. This has caused a great deal of confusion and frustration among the residents, and thus far, significant costs to the county due to the fact that Mr. Tatum personally called in additional county personnel on September 11th, including the wages, vehicle expense, in an extremely poor attempt to appease us property owners. Given that Mr. Tatum is not in any official capacity to make such decisions, we believe this situation warrants immediate investigation and appropriate corrective actions. We kindly request that the county investigate this matter, clarify the decision-making process for road work on private roads, and ensure any future work on private property be carried out with proper authorization and involvement of the affected property owners. Additionally, and within the amount of time allowed, a tort claim will be submitted to the county to address damages and inconvenience caused as a result of this unauthorized work, and to extend to Mr. Tatum the same level of respect that was shown to us property owners on September 10th. Thank you for your prompt attention to this issue, and we look forward to your response and resolution to this matter. Respectfully, Chris and Sandra Chavez.
Thank you, Ms. Chavez.
I have copies for.
Thank you. Is there any further public comment? Mr. Beal? Or Rick, Ms. Thank you.
Morning, County Commission. My name is Rick Mestis. I'm the city manager of Raton. And I would like to remind members of the commission that we are less than a month away from the Economic Development Summit and the Summit of Governments. I especially want to make sure that you all attend the Summit of Governments. This is the first time that we're getting county representatives from Colorado, New Mexico, city representatives from Trinidad and Raton in the same room to discuss regional issues. For example, we have a Department of Transportation grant that we're all partnering on that we can discuss, and other ideas for economic expansion and the future of our region. It's important that we start thinking and acting as a region. That way we could bring together more power to this part of the country. That's all I have. Again, it's going to be on the 16th and 17th here at Raton at the Convention Center. You should have already received an invitation. Thank you.
Mr. Mestis, I believe Commissioner Sevier had.
Mr. Manager, I'm sure you have, but I just want to make sure that you invite North Central New Mexico Economic Development District to that summit. Yes. I think they have a large role to play in the success of our county. Yes, we've sent invitations to them and also on the other side of the border as well. Thank you. Yes, sir.
All righty, Mr. Beal.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Tom Hill. I'd like to give my quarterly update now, if permissible. I have a meeting coming up at 10 and not sure I'm gonna be able to come back.
Commissioners? That's, go ahead, Tom.
Okay, so in the last quarter, first I want to highlight in late July, early August, I did take a fire assignment with my incident management team. We went to the Alexander Mountain Fire, which was outside Loveland, Colorado. Ended up being about 6,000 residents evacuated due to that fire. Really rapid pace. We were able to get around that fire in about 6 days total, and get that one suppressed. Since the team was still available and nationally, every one of the 47 other incident management teams in the country were either on assignment or on mandatory days off, we were reassigned to the Warner Peak Fire, which was in Southeast Oregon. That one was putting on about 10,000 acres a day for 7 days total. Really complex fire. No real residents threatened on that one, but a large chunk of some very vital land, especially for sage grouse and bighorn sheep habitat. So ended up doing 21 days total on assignment with the team, came back, worked here an additional couple weeks. And then 2 weeks ago, my team got assigned. Originally, it was going to be a fire in Idaho in the Salmon Chalice National Forest, but then we got rerouted to Reno, Nevada. An emerging fire happened there. Threatening about 16,000 residents of Reno proper. Really active fire. There were some substantial residences lost with that and returned over the weekend from that assignment. So again, I point that out, just showing my appreciation to both management and the commission for allowing me to continue with that incident management work. I think it's vital work that we can be helping our neighbors across the country the same way that incident management teams have come here and helped us. And of course, the experience that allows me to bring back to the county, I think provides, vital training for me as far as how we handle incidents within our own county. Within the past quarter, we've continued to work with the hazard mitigation plan. As you recall, this was done in coordination with North Central Economic Development. The contract was approved roughly this time last year. As of a week ago, we approved the final draft of that to be submitted to the state for review, and then it'll go on to the feds for review. Afterwards, that'll come back to the county. We'll have a public. The document will be available for the public to review, and then it'll be presented to the county for final approval. Hazard mitigation plans, of course, help identify key areas which we want to focus both with the county and with the municipalities. We actually have active participation from all the municipalities, and my thanks go out to them for that. As well as recognizing some potential mitigation projects that we can pursue funding for over the next 6 years for while this document is valid. So really hopeful with that. Side note, that was a 90-10 match. We're well on track to meet that 10% requirement as far as administration fees, in-kind labor that we provided. So it looks to be there won't be any money out of pocket once this grant is finally approved. So again, it's really exciting that we're able to get this one done. Also in this quarter, we began work again on a whip Trex, large scale exercise. So the waste isolation pilot plant, of course, transports material coming through our I-25 corridor. So in coordination with them, the hazmat bureaus for both the state and for the federal agencies, we're looking to put on a large scale exercise. It would basically be a container rolling over, causing some sort of mass casualty event, but it'll be a great exercise aside from the radioactive component, just a great exercise for our community and our first responders to all gather together and practice what, something that could happen with the whip. Not really, but again, any sort of mass casualty incident on our roadways is something we see regularly. So it's a good chance for us to get out and dust off our plans and begin repracticing. So that's continuing. In fact, there'll be another meeting tomorrow as we are still in the planning phase of what this exercise will look like. Also in the past quarter, I've been working with my partner on the other side of the border in Los Animas County. working on updating our mutual aid agreements as far as any sort of intrastate or interstate coordination on any sort of mass events that happen, whether those are weather events or fire events or anything along those lines. In this upcoming quarter, again, moving into conference time, and I'm currently looking at several conferences to attend over the next coming months, including the Emergency Management Conference. There's a wildfire summit that's hosted by the state of New Mexico, and a few other trainings that'll just kind of keep me up to date on a few of my certifications. Hold on that word. Things continue to plod along. Things are going well with the county. Of course, we'll be looking at winter storm coordination in the next couple months, working with DOT and all the other partners. So that way, if we do actually get a winter, not looking too great right now, but if we do get any sort of winter event, that way we'll be prepared for that. And that ends my report unless there's any questions.
Thank you, Tom. Commissioners, Commissioner Kern,
No questions. Thank you, Tom.
Commissioner Ware.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Beal, have we had the erosion issues with all the rain that we've had in any of our canyons?
There have been minor erosion issues. One of the key areas would be Cimarron Canyon, especially along that first 11 miles between Cimarron and Ute Park. Those are attributed to the burn scar. We still have minimal recovery. Light fuels are coming in, the light grasses, some of the shrubs. That has provided a little bit of soil stabilization, but still that's going to be a long-term issue we're going to continue to address. So if you drive that canyon area, you certainly see a lot more rocks on the road than what you would have seen prior to the Ute Park fire. But again, those are still being mitigated. DOT is doing fine work. They are active in cleaning out. We have those Jersey barriers lining that highway, and they are cleaning those out on, I won't say a regular basis. Before it was probably monthly. Now they're probably doing it about twice a season, cleaning out any silt and sedimentation that's piling up behind those Jersey barriers. So that's not a huge impact. Looking at our other burn scar areas, the Cooks Peak, that project that we did accomplish last year provided a ton of stabilization for any sediments coming in, going across Highway 21 and eventually impacting Miami Lake. So we have seen some improvements due to that project as far as silt infiltration into Miami Lake. We benefited that Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon actually all happened on the other side of the ridge line from us. So we haven't seen any impacts from that burn scar as far as affecting our county. And then as far as normal erosion, we really just haven't had the rain this season that really causes those high impacts. The other major issue is that Canadian River and all those crossings involved with that. And we just really haven't seen the rain and the flood potential that we have in years past. That's still, on the radar. Anytime a storm hits from Johnson Mesa all the way down, that area is prone to severe flooding. And especially those low water crossings we have coming across that area. They continue to be something to be watched, but again, no current impacts.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Is there any further public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 8, discussion action of lodger's tax promotional funding request from Ratonian.com digital media advertising. Mr. Muniz.
Good morning, Commissioners. Today I'm here to request the approval of the promotional funding for the Ratonian.com. The Ratonian.com is planning to use the Colfax County logo as a digital banner on the Ratonian website. This is going to take the digital users to the Wild Divide page, who also works with the county. This will allow online users to access information on activities, news, and events such as hunting, skiing, ice fishing, and hiking. This will put more heads in beds. And at this time, the Ratonian will use the county logo for the digital banner starting on October 1st, 2024 through July 6th, 2025, 40 weeks. At this time, they're only asking for $1,600 to start the digital advertising. And Ms. Connie Martinez, the Ratonian.com advertising director, is also present for any further questions.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions, Commissioner Kern?
Did this go through the advisory committee?
Yes. Yes, and it was approved.
And when was that meeting?
That was last. I can't remember, but it was not too long ago. I think it was the beginning, the first Monday of this month.
Thank you.
I forgot what date exactly.
Thank you. Commissioner Weir? No. All right, I do not have any either. Seeing nothing further, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second.
Mr. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Ware.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
One question on lodger stacks while you're still there, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I know that we had approved substantial expenditure for the gravel roads mapping and all of that. Do you know the status of any of that? Because I haven't seen anything and haven't heard anything.
I do not. I could look into that and I'll shoot you an email as soon as I can find out.
Okay, I would appreciate that because I think it's important that we follow up on those that we have funded and to see where.
Okay. Okay, that'll work.
Thank you, Mr. Muniz.
Thank you, guys.
No
Thank you.
further questions.
And Commissioner Kern, I could touch base on that just a little bit. I know the city of Raton's taking the lead on managing that project. They are having a meeting this month, I believe, to start the whole process of creating the book. So. All right, moving on to item number 9, discussion action agreement for inmate confinement between Colfax County or between the county of Santa Fe and Colfax County. Warden Slade.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. So I received this letter for a new contract for Santa Fe County. We don't really hold for Santa Fe County, but there are times that we have detainees being held at Santa Fe County. So we need to get a new contract through them. But to let you know that per the letter that was sent to you, their prices are going to be going up to $220 at the first of the year. And I'm requesting your approval.
Thank you, Warden. Commissioner Kern.
I think we need to up our rates.
I'm sorry.
We
Yeah,
need to up our rates.
I've already looked into it. I've already kind of averaged out what it actually costs us depending on the detainees. With our detainees now, it's anywhere between 130 and 180 for our hold, and we're only doing 104 is the max for our contract. So I'm probably going to be bringing up the letter, bringing it forward in front of you to get that letter sent out to kind of up our pricing as well.
No questions, Warden. Thank you.
Commissioner Weir. I don't have any either. I saw it nearly doubled. And do you answer my other question of how often do they hold for us?
Maybe, well, we might get one or two every few months. Just depends on if they get arrested over there and then get transferred to us over here.
Thank you.
I think the max the max is probably about 600. So it's about 3 to 4 day hold.
Thank you. Commissioners, nothing further? Nope. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second, Madam Clerk.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Moving on to item number 10, discussion action agreement between Colfax County and San Juan County for housing juvenile detainees, non-guaranteed.
So I believe in the packet was sent to you. I sent you both because I received both. A guaranteed bed is like 10,500 a month, no matter what. This one's $475 non-guaranteed bed, but we have to have a contract to hold detainees. So I'm asking approval for the non-guaranteed bed contract.
Commissioner Kern,
No questions.
Commissioner Ware.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Madam Warden, why does it cost so much more to house a juvenile versus an adult inmate?
Their stipulations are a little bit more stricter than ours is when it comes to law and the counties and this, that. they're required a whole lot more attention, so I believe it costs a little bit more to house them. I couldn't say that's exactly what it would cost, but it's always been a lot more for for juveniles.
Are we qualified to house juveniles in
You're
our
not.
facility? We
You're
cannot.
not.
There's,
Ours is just an adult 18 or above.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
There's only 2 in the state.
Juveniles, I'm sorry, sir.
there's only 2 in the state that could host.
Only 2.
Yeah.
The stipulation for holding juveniles is really, really strict compared to what we went through for accreditation. It is so much more for juveniles.
And one last question, Mr. Chairman, Madam Warden, how many juveniles ballpark do you think or maybe the sheriff can answer? Do we have to detain a year?
We don't. So I think since I don't think even when Monty was warden, county manager was warden, we even used our juvenile budget. We have to have the budget for the just in case. I could be wrong. He can answer the question, but I think most of them get cited back to their parents, I believe. I haven't seen any that we've ever even been billed for in the 2.5 years that I've been, almost 2.5 years that I've been warden. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Warden. You know, this is one thing that I like. I mean, I learned a little bit from this about having the guaranteed beds. And there might be something to look into or consider, because I know we do a lot of housing for Union County. And I don't know if there's any interest in housing, do a guaranteed bed for them if it works out financially or in the future.
The only thing is it's an automatic 10-5 whether we hold or not. So if we don't hold anybody for a year, we're still paying.
That makes sense. Correct.
500 a month.
Yeah.
So you're looking at.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm fine with the
130,000.
non-guaranteed with this, but I'm
Yeah.
just thinking
Okay.
for us that we house others, maybe there's a consistency enough.
Yeah, I don't think there is, you know, like I said, I don't even know if she's even seen a decline in our budget previous to Monty or me.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions on this agreement. Commissioners? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mr. Ware?
Yes.
Yes. Moving on to item number 11, discussion action authorize VMDC to hire vacant job positions needed.
So I am asking the commission if I can hire 1 sergeant position and 2 officer positions. Currently, we are 5 short. That is 1 sergeant, 4 officers. Per my staffing analysis, I need 6 per day and 4 at night. Currently, we only have 5 on day shift and 1 sergeant on night. That is, we are lacking. Just a little information. It might not seem like a lot, but it is when you're short staffed. We booked in 51 detainees, just from the 1st of this month. 38 releases. One day there was 7 bookings and 6 of those bookings were on graveyard. We need enough officers to cover. We're a lot busier than a lot of people think we are. I will be giving you a packet, just to show you the daily things that we do accomplish at the facility, not including emergencies that come up or, you know, fights or, you know, anything else that, you know, and you can't do it with 4 people on the floor because, well, 4 people, 1 person's in control, 3's on the floor. 1's doing medical, 1's doing court, 1's doing 2 courts, and we have no one to do walkthroughs. So we need the staff. Safety and security is our number 1 and it's something that we have to have. So I'm asking your permission today if I can hire 2 officer positions and 1 sergeant position. I do have 1 sergeant. Actually, I have 2 sergeant applications and I have 2 officer applications already.
Commissioner Kern?
Thank you. 2 questions. If we approve to fill the sergeant position, then that will likely leave you another opening in your officers.
Correct.
With the assumption that your applications are in-house, not out-of-house, correct?
1 is out of house.
One's out.
1 is in-house, yes.
And the last time you addressed us, you had indicated that you were going to be losing somebody in October, you thought?
Correct. I'll be losing a sergeant possibly in October.
Another sergeant?
Yes, ma'am.
Would it behoove us to ask, would behoove you to ask for that position now because October's not that far away, ma'am.
I can, I just don't know the exact date. Nothing's been placed in. But yeah, I'm okay with, if it's okay to ask for those two. Of course, that second one wouldn't go into that position until the other one comes vacant. I wouldn't hire an extra one and have 5 sergeants.
Sure. Yeah, we understand. No further questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Ware.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Warden, how many staff are we required to have in order to maintain our recently achieved certifications?
So there's no guarantee, there's no, sorry, my brain's not working. I'm not required to have a specific amount of staff. But when I do my staffing analysis, which was approved through accreditation, I would need 6 officers on day, 4 officers at night, and 4 sergeants. So I'm missing the 2 and the 1.
So this would bring us back up to that.
To the
standard.
exact staffing analysis that I had for accreditation, yes. And then with the extra sergeant, I wouldn't have to come back to approve. That one wouldn't go into position until the other one puts in his notice.
And Madam Warden, have you done any studies on the cost of overtime versus full-time staffing to see? Because I assume when you're short on staff, you're having your overtime increases. Is that a fair statement?
Correct.
Have you looked at that to see?
I have. I haven't done a full year. I did just this last week and we were short 2 staff on the same shift. We couldn't adjust anyone from one shift to this shift and it cost us. Now this is, I didn't account for the full pay, just the overtime itself that would be added. And that's $1,500 just in 1 week that we had to pay in overtime. Because they were out. Both of them were out on one shift and we have to have it covered. I can't have 2 people on graveyard. So, I'm gonna be adjusting my schedules based on vacations and stuff so I can watch my overtime. But when you have call-ins and you don't have one staff to move to another shift to cover that because you're gonna make that other shift short-staffed, it's just impossible. I mean, if you look at the budget from last year, I spent almost $200,000, not including what was allotted. I think it was almost 250,000 on overtime last budget.
No further questions, Mr. Chairman.
So Warden, you have 5 vacant positions right now, is that
Correct.
correct? And you're
I
asking,
will have 6 in October,
okay, you're asking to fill 3 at this time?
but one will not be filled until the other one,
Okay,
unless you prefer that I come in
I prefer
when he gives the notice.
to come in later. That's how I feel.
Yeah, so
I'll let
I'm
the
just
rest of the
asking for the
commission.
1 sergeant and the 2 officers.
Okay, do you know what the starting pay is gonna be for these?
Starting pay $16.98 for the officers and it's $18.98 with her experience. If she's the one that's gonna get hired, if not, it'll be $17.98 for the other one if it's in-house.
Okay, so we're looking at roughly 56,000 for the officers per year. And then what was the sergeant you said per?
Depends on which one gets promoted. So either we're gonna hire one outside who's got like 20 years sergeant experience and the other one would just go up the dollar. So it would be either $17.98 or $18.98. Which is the current sergeant position pay right now.
So it's roughly 65,000 for the commission. Sorry, I just. And then just to let the commission know, just from the other savings that I've seen from attrition, not hiring, the county's at roughly 224,000. And Ty, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's 1 grant writer. We had 1 sheriff retire and then 1 detention center, I believe.
Well, we also have,
So that'd be 2.
this year full pay for any officer hired after July 1st.
Yeah.
To June. And then half of it next year and then 25% the year after. For the grant that I received.
Commissioners, is there anything further? Commissioner Ware? No. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to allow the warden to advertise for one sergeant and two officer positions.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I didn't hear how many positions.
Three total,
3 total. It was the 2.
sergeant and two officers.
Commissioner Kerna, before I second, I will tell you I was in favor of your idea of if we know we're going to have somebody leaving, making that 4 positions.
Okay,
I was expecting that. I was going to second it.
two sergeants and one officer then.
Yeah,
Two sergeants, one officer?
that's what you said.
Two sergeants, two officers.
It would be two sergeants, two officers.
Two
And
officers.
one sergeant to
Total
not be
four.
until vacated.
Two sergeants, but one will not be unless the other one's vacated, correct?
Correct.
That's right. I'll second that amended motion.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern,
Yes.
Commissioner Ware.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to item number 12, discussion action ratify acceptance of the FAA grant for improvements to the Angel Fire Airport runway lighting. And commissioners, this is for grant number 3-35-0058-031-2024. Mr. Provine?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This grant is one of 2 grants. Item 13 covers the second grant for the runway lighting rehab up at the Angel Fire Airport. The reason there's 2 grants, there's 2 funding programs. This one is under the bipartisan infrastructure law grant program. It is for $289,829 FAA money. There is a grant, a companion grant with the New Mexico Department of Transportation Aviation Division that helps pay for that. The county's match, if you'll recall, county's match on these types of airport improvement program grants with FAA is the land value that's been banked from the original land donation. So this project, we advertised open bids here about a month and a half ago, and FAA's offered this grant. This is to ratify due to the schedule on FAA's year end. This is to ratify the county signature on that grant offer. I stand for any questions.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. First of all, again, this is to ratify because I noticed in the packet, you'd already signed these grants. So, and I know the due date was the 17th, so they've already been submitted.
Correct. I have submitted
Okay,
those.
so this is ratified. Great. And then my other question is, I'm no lawyer, but I didn't see any language related to the 10% match being fulfilled by the land. Is that in this grant or is that a separate agreement? I don't.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Ware, it's actually 90% FAA, 5% state, 5% county. So the 5% match is not stated explicitly in the grant agreement. However, in the budgeting and the application process, it was noted in that application. There is an agreement, a letter originally submitted by FAA to the county back in, I think, 1983, if you will. And that's on file that allows the county's match to the counties use the land value, $4,900 an acre towards their match on future airport improvement program projects. So it's not explicit in the grant itself, but it was in the grant application, I should say.
Mr. Chairman, just one more question. So the maximum obligations stated in this first grant, 761,444, have we already done, is that based on a pre-engineering estimate? Have we? No, we've already got bids on it or what?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. And I had the wrong grant when I mentioned the total amount. This is the $761,444 FAA grant. Both these grants were based on construction bids. So those are hard dollars. They also include the engineering design, which is a hard dollar that we have a task order on. And then the only estimated cost in there is on the construction observation and testing, which would be performed at a time and materials basis, and we have a budget on that not to exceed. So these are hard dollars.
Thank you. No more questions, Mr. Chairman.
And just to be clear there, I think there was some confusion on that. The item number 12, commissioners, from your packet, I think is actually number 13 and 13.
Oh, the numbering's wrong.
Yes, that's what I stated, the actual
Okay.
grant number agreement. And just moving forward, if we could have the grant number agreement on the agenda, be appreciated. Commissioner Kern?
No questions.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second, Madam Clerk.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So moving on to item number 13 is discussion action to ratify accept of the FAA grant for improvements to the Angel Fire Airport rotating beacon and wind cone install. This is for grant number 3-35-0058-030-2024. Mr. Provine?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, this is the second grant I mentioned. These are, we split the project into the two grant programs for the, to get the grant funding to cover the project costs. This is the second grant. All told, these two grants will bring in about a little over $1 million, I think $1,051,000 roughly, to the county. So this is the second grant. We split the work into what FAA calls usable units, and that's why the grant description is a little different. So these costs are, as stated earlier, these are the bid costs, if you will, from our bid opening.
Thank you, Mr. Provine. Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Kern?
No question.
Commissioner Weir? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Next is item number 14, discussion action of the Colfax County professional service contract between Advanced Air LLC and Colfax County. Commissioners, this was brought back to the county from Advanced Air to match our grant award to their flights and services that they can provide. You'll see in the grant agreement the scheduling and pricing that they expect to plan out. And I've also had the county attorney review this, our chief procurement officer, Mrs. Avila, review this, and also Dan Moran with State Aviation. They all stated that it falls within the scope of the grant and the procurement code. Commissioners, is there any questions? Commissioner Kern?
No questions.
Commissioner Ware?
No questions.
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you. Moving on to item number 15, discussion action resolution of 2024-36, a resolution authorizing the Colfax County staff, and county attorney to engage with the Village of Angel Fire and further due diligence needed to accomplish a possible transfer of the Colfax County Airport to the Village of Angel Fire. Commissioner Weir.
Mr. Chairman, the Village of Angel Fire has been previously expressed as interested in working with the county to transfer the operation of the airport over to the village. This is simply a resolution that will ask the county to commit to spending the staff's time to investigate that and to perform further due diligence to determine the possibility of the transfer. So the village council will be voting on a similar resolution this evening or tomorrow evening. So this is basically us just saying, yeah, we'll look into this together and and figure out if it makes sense.
Thank you, Commissioner Ware. Commissioner Kern,
No questions?
questions? I looked at the little business plan you guys submitted. I appreciate you sending that along. My only thing is I would probably encourage you just to look at the budget. Again, the staffing numbers seemed a little low and the insurance, liability insurance seemed a little low. The others seemed within reason. So
Mr. Chairman, it's my understanding, I wasn't part of the committee that drafted this, but it's my understanding that they pulled this off the current year budget from the county. I think in the current year budget from the county, we had to do some scraping, as you may know. This only represents a single head count for the airport. Previously, we had two budgeted. So that is my understanding of where these numbers came from. But again, I wasn't involved in that process.
thank you. No, and I'm in favor of supporting this. So Commission, I'll make a motion to approve.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded, Madam Clerk.
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Yes.
lost it.
No,
Who's seconded?
moving on to item number 16, discussion action resolution 2024-37, a resolution to amend the Open Meetings Act resolution 2020-14 and update the notice requirements for the special meetings. Commissioners, this is something I requested that be brought up. We tried to call a special meeting and it states within, not so much the state, and correct me if I'm wrong, county attorney, but more so within the county's policy that we need to wait till a newspaper publication has occurred. And with this, no. Well, this just allows, this resolution here would allow us to move forward with this notifying via phone or email the newspapers and still continuing with the open meetings regulation to move forward with posting it on our website, the county building, and then a third location. County attorney, is that? Yes.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. I believe that that was requested by Chairman Trio to look into that, and I contacted New Mexico Attorney General's office about the newly updated policy regarding the same, and they asked me to refer to the New Mexico Attorney General's guidance on Open Meetings Act, and then they pinpoint to their example for the special meeting notice requirement. So I just verbatim adopted what they have to say, that this can be constitute as a the meeting that the notice requirement. So basically that the number one, special meeting can be called by chairman or majority of the commission with 3-day notice, and notice must include the agenda information, and then it should be published, be available at least 72 hours before the meeting, and then posted on the Colfax website. And then also, it's not possible if we cannot possibly to coming up with usual method, including publication through the newspaper and then radio station. The notice will be considered sufficient if the time, place, and agenda will provided by phone and or email to newspaper of the general circulation, and then notices shall be posted on the county building, district court, Raton City Hall, and then phone call and then email notice is also given to the broadcast station licensed by the FCC and to newspaper that have been requested notice of publication. So I think we follow that the standard and then suggestion by the New Mexico Attorney General's office at this time.
Thank you, County Attorney. And Commissioners, this for me is, I just want to be able to conduct business more consistent without having to wait. I mean, still we'll give our notice to the public, advertise it, but without having to wait for circulation of the newspaper, which is sometimes often a week and a half or two. So, Commissioners, is there any questions, Commissioner Kern?
I don't have any questions, but there is an error in it. It cites back to resolution 2020-14 and that is not the most current Open Meetings Act resolution. We approve this every year, so the most current one would be 2024. So that needs to be changed.
Commissioner Ware?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, you know, if you look at the state statute, again, I'm no lawyer, but it talks about a newspaper in general circulation within the county. I'll say we don't have a newspaper in not a qualifying newspaper in general circulation, because we use a newspaper out of Wassenberg. I guarantee you, almost nobody in my district is aware that that newspaper, probably aware that it exists, much less subscribes to it. And in my district, actually, the Dallas News is a predominant newspaper. You can see them, they sell them. They sell Dallas News and Springer at the gas station. So to me, we don't have a newspaper, and because of that, if we didn't publicize in the newspaper, to me, I think we'd be compliant with the law, even if we didn't, because we don't have a newspaper in general circulation, not a qualifying newspaper.
Thank you, Commissioner Ware. Oh, Commissioner Kern?
Yeah, I would agree with Commissioner Weir. When I was manager, I had several discussions with the AG's office in relation to this. And as long as we make an effort to get something posted in 3 different locations, one being our website, because that's where people are going to look first and foremost, KRTN, and the post office, city hall, court, wherever that may be. But I agree, because we don't have a paper of general circulation. So
Thank you, commissioners. And the reason why is we had called our special meeting this last time, and I was informed that we were not able to have it due to the Open Meetings Act meeting those requirements. So I just wanted to address that. So I'd like to make the motion to approve the agenda, amending the prior resolution number to the most recent Open Meetings Act resolution.
Second.
Madam Clerk, it's been moved and seconded.
Mr. Kern,
yes.
Commissioner Ware,
Yes.
Chairman Truhill.
Yes. Thank you. Moving on to item number 17, discussion, mapping of the Mesa Airfield and rezoning. I have some representatives from the city of Raton. Jaden?
Chairman, Commission, Jaden Welch with the City of Raton. Thank you for allowing me to speak. If you'd allow me to provide some background first, that might help properly discuss the main subject property. But the City of Raton is in the process of updating their zoning map, and there are 3 different areas that we're looking to address. One, updates that had been approved through City Commission over the years that hadn't been reflected in the map. So we're going to add those. The 2009 map, that was the last adopted map, had some errors inadvertently introduced that we went back to the previous map in 1987 and looked at what had actually been an approved change, in order to catch any inadvertent changes, so that we could correct those back to how it was in the 1987 map. After going through this exercise, we noticed that parcel boundaries, the zoning boundaries didn't align with parcel boundaries. So there'd be slivers of commercially zoned property on a residential parcel. And so we went through anywhere a zoning boundary intersected a parcel boundary, and we decided, hey, what was the original intent for this parcel? It's 90% residential. This is really a residential parcel. We're just going to move the zoning boundary over a little bit to align with the parcel boundary. And that brings us to the La Mesa Airstrip property. The La Mesa Airstrip property has multiple zoning designations in it. It has a C3 along the airstrip. and then the rest of the parcel is residential. And being that the La Mesa airstrip is no longer in operation, we consulted our comprehensive plan for the city of Raton to see what the best future use for that parcel would be. And according to our comprehensive plan, we have that mapped as all residential. And so we made the decision to update that parcel to all R1 or residential. I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Kern?
Thank you. I can understand why you would probably want to make that all residential, but the infrastructure isn't there to service residents at this time anyway.
That is correct. At the point that a developer would decide to develop that property, we would have to go into those negotiations. Just because we're rezoning this to R1 doesn't mean that there's any development plan. We're just aligning our zoning map with the strategic objectives of the city.
I think that would contradict with the idea of making that an industrial park at one point in time, because that was the discussion of previous commissions that. But that was previous. Today, now is now, that is then.
That's correct. Our comprehensive plan was updated in 2021, and it has a proposed future zoning use in there, if anyone should care to consider it.
Commissioner Ware?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so this is R1,
That's correct.
we can't do multifamily in that?
So this phase of the map update is mostly a cleanup exercise. And so at the point that someone wanted to come in and develop it, they could then have that rezone to alternative residential at that time.
So my question also relates to the process. So you're saying that this has already been approved by your Planning and Zoning Commission and approved by your council or your commission?
It will actually be on the commission's agenda for tomorrow night's meeting as to whether or not they approve it. And when we were first considering making this change, I did reach out to Cy, but he recommended that I speak with the entire commission about it. Additionally, at our previous commission meeting, one of our city commissioners had requested that we get the blessing from the county, so to speak, to do this just kind of out of good faith. And we do value our partnership with the county. We want to maintain good working relationship with y'all. And so that's basically what I'm here for.
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know, based on the information I have right now, I don't know that I'm in favor of this. Like Commissioner Kern said, previous commissions had discussed of using that as a park there, a commercial park, especially with the new Ports to Plains construction that's going to be happening, in the next 5 to 10 years. We thought that would make a great location for that. At this point, I'm not in favor of the change. Without further information, I'd need to study it. And understand in more depth the impact to the surrounding community and so on. I also have concerns in that in that area, there is trails that I'm told are Santa Fe that are part of the old Santa Fe Trail, and that may preclude any construction in there from a historical perspective. And so I'm just not sure at this point that it makes sense to change anything until we understand the impact of that.
That is correct. The Santa Fe Trail does run through that parcel. In fact, the portion of that parcel that the Santa Fe Trail does run through is actually already zoned R1. And so, you know, in theory, since the eighties, someone anytime between then and now could have built homes in there potentially. So this change wouldn't actually impact that.
Okay. I'd still like to understand it better.
Thank you. Commissioner Kern.
Yeah, I mean, it's only on the agenda as a discussion item, so we can't actually take action, but I would agree with Commissioner Weir. I don't know that based upon the first layer of information we've received that I would support changing it. I think there's other options for the property out there, and so I wouldn't support it at this time, but it's for discussion.
And Mr. Chairman, and I'm no expert in planning and zoning, but I believe if it's currently zoned C3, you can still put C3, you can put anything on it, right? Just about. I mean, you can still put residential on C3.
There are several limitations as to what type of residence you could put in there. I'm not prepared to speak to all of those at this time, though.
Thank you. And for myself, I don't see, as long as I'm in office, selling to a developer for that land. So to me, making it a residential doesn't really fit within, because if we're gonna be doing anything, I want to do it where it's going to benefit the community as a whole. What I had envisioned was, and we were starting when I first entered into office, continuing on with the industrial park there. And I know when we first talked, I don't know, several months ago, the discussion was brought up, and I kind of let lie the point of an industrial park down there. I know the state of New Mexico was behind us through the economic development. Tim Hagerman was behind us and putting funding to help get infrastructure in there for an industrial park. But what I had envisioned was from where the solar farm is south, make that a light industrial, not heavy, light industrial. That could be like warehouses, close proximity to I-25. And then north of that would be kept as a community park, essentially. So you could continue on. And that brings up my other question, is with the balloon rally, making that a residential, will you still be able to hold the balloon rally there? And will Luna Community College still be able to use that for their education, for their truck driving courses that they hold there? Or would they have to find new homes? So those are some questions I have, and I don't know if you have the answers to those today or not. But that's what I have. And I understand where the city is coming from. I understand it's more so just a blessing from us, not really an action, because it does fall within the city boundaries, even though the county does own the land. It falls within the incorporated area of the city. That's kind of where I stand with it.
If I may, so if we wanted to put in an industrial park, it would require rezoning anyway. So changing it to residential now to be more in line with our comprehensive plan wouldn't actually impact your ability to, you're going to have to rezone it later anyway to light industrial or something else to be able to put in an industrial park anyhow. And like I said, a majority of the parcel is already zoned R1. I don't know if the intention was that the industrial park would go all just where the old airstrip was up against the residential houses there. They had expressed concerns. They didn't want some of the locals from that neighborhood came to the planning and zoning meeting and expressed a similar reluctance as what I'm hearing here today. And their reasoning was they didn't want to see houses built right next to them. They like the view. They like, I don't know that they would like an industrial park right next to them any more than they would like houses next to them.
Thank you. No, and with that, I believe as far as me as a commissioner goes, however the city zones it, we're not going to move forward with an industrial park if the city is not necessarily wanting an industrial park there. If we're moving forward or we want to work forward in cooperation to see that success. So I guess that's for a further discussion down the road. But commissioners, is there anything further? Commissioner Kern?
Nothing further.
Commissioner Ware? Anything else? Anyone from the public? Madam Assessor?
Good morning, Chairman Trujillo, commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Christy Graham. I'm here as a concerned citizen. I do own a residence and 10 acres that are, but the fence line butts to the La Mesa Park. I've talked to many people that live out there. We do not want residents out there. We would rather see the balloon festival, make it a park for them, put trees, make it better for that. That's what we would rather see than residential. I just moved out there about 1.5 years ago and I love it. I love the scenery. I love being out there. It's quiet. But I would rather see a park out there than houses. Just wanted to stress that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Assessor. Anything further? Jaden, thank you very much for your presentation, and chatting with us. We'll move on to item number 18, update on the Tiger Grant. Ty, are you there?
Good morning, commissioners.
Morning.
I have a meeting October the 1st with the FRA commission or the FRA representatives. June helped me get a letter out that's going to go out this morning to all our stakeholders asking for any outstanding invoices. And I'm also asking for a detailed report of all the invoices that they've billed us so that we can reconcile and make sure we've picked up everything. So
Sure.
right now, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Ty.
No, sir. I'm just in the fact finding portion of my investigation. And I'm hoping I can get some more guidance from FRA in the it's October the 1st at noon.
Thank you. Commissioner Kern, did you have questions?
No.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Ty, so right now, to the best of your knowledge, and I know you'll know more on October 1st, our number there is still negative 450.
Yes, sir, but I am hoping that I'm missing a piece and that I get more information from FRA that I'm missing a piece of the grant because I came into this so late and I'm just I'm starting from scratch and I'm hoping they can give me some more insight and see if I've missed something.
No further questions.
Thank you, Ty, very much.
Yes, sir.
Nothing further.
I think there's got to be a missing piece because it's a reimbursement grant. So I think there's got to be something somewhere. I know there was a long period of time where there was nothing taking place and a lot of things probably fell off the radar during that in that time. But I'm confident that you'll get more direction and clarity after you talk to FRA.
Yes, ma'am. I'm hoping there's a piece that I'm missing that it transpired and we just either it got paid. I don't want to jump to any conclusions right now. I just want to ask them as many questions as I can and make sure we have all the stakeholders. And that letter that June helped me get out, it's to all the stakeholders listed in the management plan for the grant. And I'm hoping there's something that will fall out.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ty.
Yes, sir.
Seeing nothing further, we'll move on to item 19, discussion, the quarterly report from department heads We've already heard from Tom V. Hill with Emergency Management. Ordinance led.
So, I wasn't quite sure exactly what quarterly report you were requesting. Was it the one previous year? Was it something just for the last couple of months? I brought both, so I wasn't quite sure what you were requesting. So the end of last year, June, fiscal year, just to basically in total, we brought in $522,442.78 just from our out of county holds. Most of the stuff we already know, we got the accreditation, we got, there's a lot of stuff that we've already discussed up here. Not a whole lot of big changes. This last couple of months, we've brought in approximately 160,000 from July and August. So we're still holding for quite a few in Union County. We haven't had any major issues at the facility. We had a camera that went down, had to buy a camera, those kinds of things. But we did have an assault on a staff, assault on a detainee. Other than that, it's pretty much been pretty much the same. Not a lot of changes. Like I said, I will be working on with Danielle, with sending out information to the counties we hold for to up our prices. But of course, I'll bring that before you first and to the attorney and everything to get it sent out and give them a specific time frame, when it's going to change and those things. I think that's it, other than the grants that we got and the MAP program grant, which you guys know we already have. So other than that, that's pretty much been going on.
Thank-
Question?
Thank you, Warden. Commissioner Kern.
No questions?
Commissioner Rivera. I do not have any either. Thank you, Warden.
Here was. I'm just gonna give you copies.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Stevens, you want to come next? Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. I just want to make sure that you are aware, we do have two new full-time employees. We've had them for several months now. We do have a full-time blade operator in the Moreno Valley, which covers Black Lake area, Eagle Nest, and U Park. These two employees, we've been training them on the blades. They had never ridden the blade before. I think they're doing an excellent job. They're still a little green at it, but they're doing, I think, absolutely wonderful. I'm glad to have them. I think they'll just keep improving from what I see. They were fast learners. And then we also have a full-time blade operator in the Springer area as well. We are desperately needing these operators in these areas, so we're trying to hopefully improve the roads. That being said, I would just like to bring up, it's not official at the moment, but it's a possibility that we may be losing our Farley blade operator, which concerns me very much so. That is a very rural area. That is one of the biggest areas that Colfax County Road Department has. That is a very hard position to fill. The current employee operator that we have in that area, he happens to live right in the middle of his area that he maintains. We hardly ever get calls in that area. He knows the area better than I do. He mainly takes care of any problem we have down there. But it is a huge possibility that we may lose that employee. And if so, it's at least a 60-mile one way to run that blade, someone to run that blade out of Raton. It's a huge expense for the county, the road department in that case. It's at least an hour drive. And then that cuts your time down for as blading and maintaining the roads in that area. I just kind of want you aware of that. And next month, we have the purchase of our backhoe. The lease agreement is up. I was hoping that the county could purchase this backhoe. The county did pay for extra hydraulic lines and to be put on this and hydraulic system put on this because we actually have two separate attachments for this backhoe, and we rigged it up to run these attachments. One is a hammer for this backhoe, and the other one is a tree shear. And Colfax County definitely needs both of them attachments. The payout on this backhoe would be $67,328.99 at the moment. I'm not sure if I can purchase them through capital outlay money or not. I will check into that.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Commissioner Kern?
No, I think it would be a good idea to try to purchase the machine. Like I said, we did have a considerable expense in plumbing that to fit those attachments. And as we, I complain every month about tree growth. So it only makes sense to try to purchase it. I think that machine's in very good shape. It's been very well cared for and hasn't been overused or abused by any means, and would be a good investment. And the road fund is one of the few where capital outlay money can buy used equipment. So maybe the only one where it can buy used equipment. So I would support pursuing trying to purchase that machine. And that's the only questions I have or comments. Thank you.
I will say that this machine right now probably has about 1,030 hours on it is what it has. This machine has never been worked on. It's not a lemon. In my opinion, we've never had any problems with this machine, which is very unusual.
Thank you, Commissioner Burr.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Glenn, have we looked at releasing that? Because you may not be able to go through the original equipment vendor because they generally don't do releasing, but there are other leasing agencies that would actually acquire that and release it to us. Normally, I would say, that machine sounds like something we need to buy. I'm just thinking of cash flow. Might be something we want to look into and just lease it for another 5 years. Might make sense.
In the past, the road department always had two backhoes. The other backhoe is a 1996 Cat. I couldn't tell you how many hours is on it. It's pretty much, in my opinion, it's completely wore out. It just got to the point, anytime we took it out and ran it a full day, 2 days in a row, something major would go wrong with it. It's just, in fact, I did list it for the auction to get rid of it. Just nickel and dime the county at this point. It served its purpose. It's been a very good backhoe. Where we really use a backhoe is the most important part with the backhoe, in my opinion, is during flooding season. It's nice to station a backhoe in a certain area that we know we're going to have problems. And that keeps us from having to transport the one backhoe all over the county. We'll station it like in the Tanaha area, the water crossing. And when the It happens pretty often. I'm surprised this year. I think this is the first year I've seen where the water didn't cross that crossing. Surprisingly, it's came awful close, but we get a lot of debris in them culverts. So we tried to station a backhoe there to keep the culverts clean. If an employee goes by to check it, if there's trash at the end of the culverts, they can jump on the backhoe and clear them out and get the water flowing as soon as possible. And if we can't purchase this backhoe, in my opinion, then I would like to spec one with the hydraulic system the county already paid to put on this one to run our attachments.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. For me, I'd just like to see further investigation, whether appropriations can be used or if it's better to release it, however you guys best see fit. I guess the question that I had, I did want to thank you and your men for taking care of that one tree issue we had over in my district. We appreciate it, and thank you for your timeliness on that. I noticed some complaints about the Jersey pilings and Springer during this recent rain. Can you speak to, was that a county road or do you know?
I did go down to confirm our county maintained mileage on that road. It's called County Road C31. And when I measured it, the county maintained part goes just about to the north edge of Springer, where it turns from dirt to pavement. We maintain 2.72 miles on our road log. I drove on down to the trouble spot where the erosion is, and it was about 3 miles and 1/10. I did bring a map with me. If I may, I'd like to hand it out to you so it's kind of explains the area better.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you for confirming that it's not a county maintained road to the point where that issue is being heard. Thank you.
Has this information been shared with the mayor and DOT? Has there been any conversations there to try to assist them with it?
What I did was, I measured it on the computer and then I physically went down there because I like a visual to know exactly where we begin, where we end, and look at it myself. If you look at the map, the red roofed building is to the north. And I tried to put a little X where the erosion appears on that water crossing. And as you can see, the yellow or the blue line indicates the city limit boundary. And it does show, I mean, if you look at it to the east, that road is in the county, but it's not on county maintenance. But after I confirmed the mileage, I did call acting manager Miss Valdez and happened to talk to Bo Lopez, the mayor of Springer. Happened to walk into her office at the time, and I gave him John Herrera's number. He's very informational as far as the state side. If there's what kind of funding maybe we can find for that problem. I'm more than happy to help in any way for sure. I personally tried calling John Herrera. I don't know if he was on vacation last week or what, but he's usually very good about calling me back. And I never got a call back last week. So I don't think he was in his office.
And if I could say something too, I also did reach out to John Herrera via email. So I'm kind of waiting for a email back from him or communication back with him to see if there's something that maybe can be done to incorporate those miles, but I'm not sure. So
Yeah.
I'll give you guys an update whenever I figure that out.
Thank you.
I know I looked at it probably close to a year ago and stuff, and the concern was whether, with the erosion that those Jersey barriers could eventually fall into that ditch. And it is an irrigation ditch and would back up water into the town of Springer, which could be extremely detrimental. So, I would appreciate any and all efforts to work together with the mayor, the city of Springer, NMDOT and ourselves and stuff, just to try to prevent that from happening and then figure out what we need to do going forward to remedy the whole situation or the system. If it's not ours, at least the system in any way we can.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
And I will follow up as well. I'll get a hold of John. Like I said, he's usually really good about responding back.
He's probably hunting right now.
I'm guessing he's not there.
And I guess my only question is, so technically it's not ours at the time being, but is there any cause for an emergency basis to go bring those pilings in a little closer to narrow that road, but it would prevent it from falling it through?
You could, maybe move them, fill the hole in, and then move them out just a little bit more. It looks like it's eroding the edge of the pavement. It's kind of causing holes out towards the roadway. And it looks like that the Jersey barriers are starting to lean towards the end of that culvert where it could possibly fall in. And Mayor Lopez did explain that to me. If one was to fall in and back up the water, it could cause great damage to residents on up the stream. So.
Well, thank you, Glenn.
Yeah, it seemed the problem when we looked at it is that culvert short needs to be extended and then like a head wall put on it or.
It definitely does narrow.
It's a backbone. Yeah, it's a little bit short, so it's caving off right at the head of the culvert.
Yep.
Thank you for following up on that. Well,
absolutely.
Susie as well. Thank you.
Yes, thank you all. I had nothing for Commissioner Ware.
Mr. Chairman, just one question can you give me an update on Windy Hill Road? Because the condition of.
The rain, we're just waiting for it to dry up enough. That blade operator did go up there this morning and I guess it's still too muddy. We would just stir up a bigger mess as wet as it's been. I guess you guys been getting quite a bit of rain up.
So I think the only way we need to get that section of road on the list because it needs to be raised about 6 inches in order to prevent that, because it's just going to keep doing it. A blade's not enough. And it basically can become a security problem and primarily in the spring when the snow's melting, because it's like that for a month.
Yes, and that's a troublesome spot in my opinion, especially where B9 and B10 at that corner, because B9 goes up that grade. That's a long grade. There's a lot of moisture, especially if the snow's thawing, rainstorm, a lot of moisture goes to that corner of B9 and B10. And it looked like according to the pictures that I received, the bar ditch had too much gravel or dirt in the bar ditch and it wasn't draining to that culvert on the corner. So I did express that to the operator. As soon as it dries up, we will definitely hit it with the blade. We've been just waiting for it to dry up enough.
Thank you.
And I will say we've had a lot of rain lately, so it's too wet pretty much all across Colfax County the last few days. So we did load up the backhoe last Thursday and hauled it to Maxwell, and we're cutting trees while we have this window to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens.
Any other questions?
No, nothing further. Appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Mr. Trujillo, did you have something for any update on the DWI?
So it's kind of been a busy quarter. July, I submitted all of my year-end reports for both the grant and the distribution. August, I pretty much spent doing compliance. We lost our compliance officer, our prevention specialist was out. The prevention specialist is now the compliance officer. She's currently in training in Santa Fe. We're hiring for a prevention specialist, and our goal is to cross-train both of them. So that way, when somebody's out, somebody quits, everybody's cross-trained. I applied for, excuse me, I applied for a special grant application for $40,000. I submitted that on September 3rd, and I won't know if we received that until the grant council meeting on October 6th. And then we received $31,722 in distribution for our first quarter payment for distribution. And then we should receive our grants sometime probably in November. We'll receive that reimbursement. Both reports for grant and distribution for the first quarter will be due to DFA on October 31st. I've also been working on completing all of my New Mexico Edge trainings. I would also like to thank you for allowing my absence last meeting because I was in my trainings. I have one course left to complete it for the DWI coordinator certificate. I've been in contact with my program manager at DFA, and we're looking into other options to get our evidence-based curriculum into the schools within the county. Being that we don't have a prevention specialist, that's the job that they would do. We don't have one, so we're looking at different avenues and getting that program into all of the schools within the county. We are also looking into getting myself trained to do evaluation services, which we have contracted out in the past few years. So I don't have any knowledge on evaluation. So we're looking into getting that going. That's pretty much been it.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Kern, any questions, comments? Sure. Well, thank you, Ambrosia. Appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you.
I believe that's all for our department heads. Is there anything further? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 20, manager's docket. Ms. Valdez.
I actually don't have anything to add. Manager Gore didn't leave anything for me. I was gonna kind of discuss the issues that were brought to my attention with the road, the tree and the road in Springer and stuff like that. But Glenn went over that stuff and that's currently being looked at and taken care of. So unless you have any questions for me.
Very good. If anything comes up during our dockets, we could ask then. Thank you, Ms. Valdez. Seeing, we'll move on to item number 21, Commissioner's docket. Commissioner Kern.
Really don't have much of anything. I do appreciate the tree share getting back to Maxwell and addressing that because I've had a tremendous amount of calls. The only one thing that I've noticed on our resolutions in that they're not being posted to the website updated, and I don't know whose responsibility that is and stuff, but I would like them to be updated and getting posted to the website.
If I may, I'm thinking maybe we can have Michael post those once those are passed, or are you wanting them to be on the site prior to
No, once
Like after
they're
they're
approved, yeah, once they're approved, I like, cause some of them are like, they haven't been updated since 22.
Okay,
So
I think we can get with Michael and see about getting that done, because
get those scanned in and posted if possible.
yeah, because I think he should have copies of them.
Yeah.
Okay, we can see about getting that done. No
Thank
problem.
you. That's all. Thank you.
Commissioner Ware.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, first of all, I want to thank the commission for allowing the staff to look into the transfer of the airport. I think it's a process that if once due diligence is complete turns out the way I think it will, I think it'll be something that'll benefit both the village and the county and the citizens of Colfax County. Very excited about the commercial air flight. I know there are some reservations out there. We have got our contingency of residents that are not in favor of growth and feel that this might lead to it. But in my opinion, the people that are going to benefit the most from this commercial air flight are actually our residents, because it's going to make it a lot easier to get to Albuquerque and the surrounding area for the things you need there, like health needs and so on. We do have a big challenge here in Colfax County with our health providers. It has gotten a little bit better recently, but it's still a big challenge. And I think even though the air flight is hopefully going to bring in more tourism dollars that will benefit us all, I really believe making it easier for our residents to have access to a major airport and the conveniences in Albuquerque are going to be substantial. So I just hope everybody looks at the whole picture there and what this can mean for everybody within the county, not just the people in the tourism industry. And that's I still have concerns about the budget. And I'm looking forward to the next meeting when Ty is able to present to us what she learns. I think finances are going to be tough, but hopefully she did miss something. I hate to say that, but I hope she missed something, because us finding another 450 is not going to be pretty. So anyhow, that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Ware. I had a few things. I attended the Enchanted Circle government meetings this last week for the quarter. The two topics of main discussion were extending the Santa Fe Film Office into northern New Mexico and using lodger's tax to help fund a position within that for northern New Mexico. It's ours would be on the lower end for the counties. I think it was like $7,000. I asked about them working with El Rato Media Works, and they see a presence and a need of working together with them, that they'd most likely be their regional rep up in this area, helping them with film. Also, the other question was, and I know Commissioner Weir was in attendance for the Village of Angel Fire, but I'd leave this up to him since it mainly is his district. There's curiosity if Colfax County wanted to join in with a animal shelter, I guess. And I'm not sure how it would work for all of Colfax County. I feel like it's pretty far from us to go here to Taos County to deliver animals, but I'm unsure if it's beneficial to the Moreno Valley in that district. So Commissioner Weir, I don't know if you had any comment on that or anything.
Mr. Chairman, I've not brought that discussion before my council yet. So at this time, I'm not sure how what their thoughts are on that, so I don't really have anything to reply.
Perfect. That works. Thank you. I would like to get a ribbon cutting going on for the first commercial air flight that comes into Angel Fire. I think that'd be great. We can invite Senator Campos, Secretary Cerna with the DOD, perhaps the governor. But it'd be great to get those and the whole commission up there just to show that, you know, we're making progress for the valley and have a nice little ribbon cutting. Something that I'd like to extend out to Advanced Air, and I'll give him shoot him an email. During the ECOG meeting, I did learn that, and that's the Enchanted Circle of Governments meeting, that Taos did receive 8.2 million more for the RISE grant. This is their second round of getting it. But something that was interesting to hear was how their airline provider provides a discount to locals. And I kind of like that. So not so much, it's locals of Colfax County that are flying out. So they're deadheading, they're not deadheading with an empty plane, that it can be filled. So that's just something I'll throw out there to them. Also, I'd ask the following, if the county manager could give an update at our next meeting is fine. I had to make a quick trip to the Angel Fire earlier this week, and when I did, I just did an unannounced stop into the airport since I was there. I noticed that the IT vehicle was broken down and it's been up there for a while. If we need to get that towed back here, or if Glenn could, I don't know what we got going on, but if we could get it back over here and maybe put in the auction. And they were saying the transmission on the Bronco out there was going out. And I don't know if, I know the sheriff's getting a new fleet of vehicles and I don't know the time frame on that, but if he has a decent 4x4 vehicle that maybe once his new fleet comes in, we could reassign up to the valley or for the airport up there, it'd be appreciated. And then there was also some kind of issue with the fuel truck permitting. I know he was questioning on that, and he's reached out to the city of Raton to see if they could help, but maybe perhaps Mike Provine could help with assisting in that. I was looking for an update on the Wild Divide and the website and how that's going. Maybe Mrs. Duran could come attest to the work she's done or where we stand on it. Update on the best and final for the paving of the Bartlett subdivision, if that's occurred, or if it has not, let us know. And then Ty, if we could get a update, kind of like what Commissioner Weir was stating, an update on the budget, where we stand on things. I'd like to see if there was or if we've lost some positions through attrition in the county managers, the sheriffs, the detention centers. And I'd like to kind of see where we're at as far as the dollar amount goes. Just to see, because I know we're about 1.2 millions, the number that we're over. And if we're, I don't know, maybe at 200,000, I'm not too sure where we're at, but I'd just kind of like to keep track of that. It helped me in making my decisions. And then also just if you had any update on the U Park fire accounting, stuff like that. If you have been able to meet with the treasurer. I know you. Go ahead.
Do you want me to discuss it now or in the next meeting?
No, you can if you have an update now.
I did visit with the treasurer and she just deals with the revenues and the expenditures, and finance deals with the budget. And through my research and part of the budget process, I gave them too much budget. And I created some budget in their suppression line item. My thought is that if they needed something during a wildfire or something, there would be budget. So that was my fault. I inadvertently gave them budget in the suppression fund. I know there was a question about that. And to balance the regular fire fund, I additionally balanced the budget. So it was different from their requests.
Okay, thank you, Ty.
Yes, sir.
The only other thing I'd like to hear from maybe at the next meeting too is the maintenance department, seeing if there's any outstanding issues with the buildings that the commission should be aware of. I noticed that the judicial center's got a paint job and kind of how the AC unit was working, and I hope by now it's doing well. There's been a lot of mixed reviews on the color of it, but I think it's getting the job done. And just an update maybe on the lodger's tax at our next meeting, if all the positions are currently filled, where our balances are, what's been encumbered, what's still available, and we just kind of go from there. Commissioners, is there anything further you'd like to see on the future meetings or anything at this time?
Mr. Chairman, an update on the event center, I think would be good.
Okay. Put an update on event center. Alrighty. Seeing nothing further, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.